We are broadcasting to the masses.
Wonderful.
It's all happening. And what are we? 225.
What I wrote in the sheet's correct.
Correct. Sweet.
Yep.
What happened there? The music disappeared. Can you hear the music at your end? I can't hear you at all. You just gone completely silent. Oh,
yes.
There we are. I couldn't hear you at all.
We'll do it again.
I can now, yeah. I can now.
Yeah.
It's just you went complete mute.
Okay.
Cool. Let's go again.
No stress.
Welcome everybody to episode 225 of the You Can't Comp This NBA Trading Card Podcast. We're your host, Adam, Amy, and Russell Gibson. And there is a lot going on in the NBA news-wise, and the hobby, more to the point.
It always is. Hello, Adam. Hello, everyone at home. Hope you're all very well today.
Hope you're all... strap yourselves in. It's going to be an interesting episode, I think.
So obviously the big one for us to talk about is the Mr. Man Cave story.
Yes. That probably it affects the most people.
Yeah. We need to obviously tread on some of that very carefully, but at the same time we will...
Yeah, I tread on everything very carefully. I tread on everything, let's be fair.
Then after that, we're just going to go through some just general NBA news. Caitlin Clark, Bradley Beal, Marcus Smart, Damian Lillard, Ben McLenmore, which we were supposed to get to last week, but, you know...
There's a Chockers episode last week.
Hopefully we'll talk some Furphy, nice little dunk that he had. And
what a poster.
Yep. Dante Exum, Jordan Poole, CJ McCollum. Look, it's just on and on at the moment. We really have got so much stuff that we just haven't covered from the last couple of weeks.
We haven't even touched on the Summer League.
Yeah.
It's, a lot happening.
All right, let's just get straight into it. So if you haven't heard or if you haven't been around it, probably the best place to get this information is from Sports Cards Nonsense, because that's where they actually... I don't think they broke the story, but I would say they're the ones who brought it to the mainstream the fastest. And it was a post that was put onto Autographs 101 by, excuse my pronunciation, Brent Lemieux.
Mm-hmm.
And basically... So when I was reading this, I was reading this as a goodbye story. And so what you didn't know at the time was what he was meaning by goodbye. So was he saying goodbye to the hobby? Was he giving the middle finger to the Western world, and had he put all his money into an escrow account and then he was going to leave to a non-extradition country? That's what I thought he was going to be doing.
Mm.
But as it turned out, unfortunately, I think that's the best way to say it. Even if someone does do terrible things, I still think the loss of a life is absolutely tragic.
Yeah,
So then
of course.
he then ended his life because when the police and the FBI went to raid his premises, they also found a body there. So, you know, an absolutely horrible outcome of that.
Yeah.
And I think now that we've acknowledged that, we can go on to talk about what he did do. And I think probably the best thing to do here is just read snippets of it. I think if we read the entire post that he put up, it will probably take us the whole episode. And also too, some
there's
of the
a
grammar
lot
in
there.
it. Yeah, there's a lot there. And I think also too, the grammar isn't great, so it'll be pretty tricky for us to get through.
Just to navigate.
So in the first paragraph, Mr. Man Cave has sold over 4 million items and $350 million in sales. So now these are obviously numbers that he's claiming himself, and none of this has been verified. So we're going to talk later on about some other content creators that actually broke this down. So specifically Boston Card Hunter and Steve Grad. And Steve Grad is the PSA principal authenticator, and also for DNA authentication services. And someone like me, or you guys at home too, where you might know this gentleman better, is from Pawn Stars. I love that show.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just like such a good show. So I've definitely seen him on that, and he's also on the History Channel. So you might know him from that. They interviewed him, and his his thought about that, Steve's thoughts about that was that he's high on his own supply. So the number could be 350 million. It could be 50 million. It could be 35 million. You know,
Yeah.
like all this is not verified, but let's just take it at face values. We sold over 5 million Fanatics holograms alone outside what we produced to the biggest vendors in the industry. JSA, we made and produced 3 million counterfeit stickers and holograms.
Yeah.
Steiner Sports, we made the yellow card holograms. Panini, we produced holograms and cards for their entire database. When Kobe died, we put out 80,000 items into the marketplace, sold over 500,000 counterfeit Panini items. So again,
Wow. That's a
like basically when I was saying to you before about him giving the middle finger and then leaving the hobby, like he's literally touched on every single base within the hobby there.
Yeah.
So he's touched on Fanatics, he's touched on Panini. So I think now is the perfect time for us to take our first sort of time out and just break that down a little bit. What's your first thoughts on that, Ad?
I mean, we have all these small suspicions about counterfeiters and ways to spot fake cards, and then you sort of get some news like this, and you're like, it's worse than anyone could have ever really imagined. I don't think anyone's silly enough or naive enough to think that the quality of counterfeits always stay at that ridiculous Temu look.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, there are some pretty good counterfeits out there. And I say pretty good. Normally we can spot things, but this is the guy going, you reckon you can spot it? I don't think so.
Yeah.
And it's concerning just to know those volumes are insane.
If it's true what he's saying.
Yeah. Could be somewhat exaggerated. Never let the truth get in the way of a good story, but
yeah, absolutely.
This is dropping a nuke on the hobby, really.
Yeah, absolutely. On his way out of the door, literally letting the door hit him in the ass as he walked out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my take on that is that too. It's like, and I think where my first thoughts sort of go to, and we'll talk about this off air a little bit, is like it really does bring attention to provenance. Like, where does something come from, and who did you purchase it from? So did you get it out of a pack? You're very confident that's a legitimate thing.
Pack fresh, you're probably okay.
Did you get it out of a break? There's no reason to think that it's been switched or counterfeited. I think that's totally fine. If you're buying it off sellers who are legitimate, so our friends at Fast Break Trading Cards, our other sponsor, US Sports Cards Australia, we know that they've got direct produce lines and direct source lines to where it's all coming from. That's all fine.
Yeah.
Not that they're sponsoring the show, but someone like Cherry Collectibles, we know that they've got direct connections with both Panini and Fanatics.
Yeah.
There's no question of where that stuff's coming from. So I think if you're going to those sort of big boys and you're doing that, and if I haven't named you as a legitimate seller, this is not me throwing shade at you. I'm just trying to...
We can talk about other stores we know of, EJ Cards,
the
Hobby Australia, people that we know that are reputable sellers.
Correct, yeah. And so I think that's, if something is going to be learnt from all this, or if something's going to be gained from all this, I really do think this is something for me that's like a really big takeaway, and it definitely will make me think, more about it. So, secondary markets, eBay become a lot more problematic. Facebook pages become a lot more problematic, and maybe even, like, dare I say it, like ComC, because you're essentially using ComC as that middleman to kind of separate yourself from, the buyer and the seller. And the other example of this, I think, is probably a little bit relevant because we were talking about it last week, was Veriswap. So people can put fake cards up onto Veriswap, and then they get shipped out to Australia and the transaction gets done. But it's like, how does Veriswap verify that the cards are actually, real? And is it their responsibility to be doing that too? Like, I have no idea what their T's and C's are. Neither am I accusing them of doing dodgy stuff, but this is the type of thing that is just like going through my head with that sort of first
I've
paragraph.
got an alarm bell going off in my head, and that is the repack market.
Yeah, I think it depends what you're repacking. So I think if you're repacking Panini cards and you're repacking Topps cards, even Upper Deck cards, I don't think that risk profile has changed from last week. I still think you have to be
fair. Exactly.
Careful, and I think you have to, still be obviously knowing what you're buying into. But I think maybe if you're doing a memorabilia repack, and look, people at home, if you guys, think I'm being naive about this, because I think in my head, again, we'll talk about this off air, I've always sort of deemed that the aftermarket memorabilia trade is too risky for my liking, because I don't know enough about it. I don't know enough about the autographs. I don't know enough about the provenance. I've always felt that. So I've almost felt a little bit safer with cards, in that you do see the Panini hologram on the stickers, and you do see that the card's been, authentic on the back, all that type of stuff. So, but maybe I'm being too confident here, particularly when they are talking about 80,000 items went out to the marketplace. Or no, 500,000 counterfeit Panini items, he's saying there. So, yeah. The second paragraph, he just goes on to name all the people that he was in cahoots with. Yep. The third paragraph, it just talks about where he all sold it from, and then it talks about Bullpen, Ultimate Sports, Athletes, Signature Dog, All American Authentics, on and on and on, and just how he started off as a small project and then kept on getting bigger. He also spoke about his addiction for that to keep going, and that he purchased legitimate items, basically studied it all down, and then he went on to create things using an autograph pen. So this part, I actually had to, Google this, a little bit more and understand it. But my understanding is it's a specific type of pen that they use when they do the autograph, and allegedly they use those pens on purpose. Not allegedly. My understanding is they use these pens on purpose because it's actually harder for people then to make remakes of them.
Okay.
But what he's trying to say here is that he just spent more time working out how to get around that, and then he had it automated. The whole process was automated. Everything was automated, including doing the hologram, the autograph, the sticker going onto it. So, it's. I think this is probably the good time for us now to segue into the other part that we're talking about. So huge shout out to Boston Card Hunter. He did a video on his page. It's a little bit hard to find, actually, because when you're watching it at first, it's just him sitting in his car, and actually Steve Grad comes onto the video. And in that video, what he's talking about there is like, well, how did they get all these stickers, and where did it all come from? And so what Steve was suggesting is that, like, this is not a small time operation where you could produce it in America or even in your own backyard. They've obviously got some really high end manufacturing going on in China, and so they're using these Chinese sources and then bring it into America to finish it off.
Yeah.
But even Steve himself was like, he wasn't giving the answers of like how it could be done. He was sort of just like putting down, little like bits of nuggets. But by the sounds of it, like, I think what Brett's done here is he's really just taken all these different sources of product and then put it together himself. And I think that was his like genius about it all.
Yeah.
Steiner came at me and then they folded. Fanatics, I bought so much they didn't know what to say to do, but you ran your mouth, and what Michael Rubin thinks he's done to the industry. I set out to make as many Fanatics counterfeit stickers as I could, millions upon millions. There will be photos of this bus, I'm sure of it. If it was Fanatics, they may try to bury it all, but the Westfield police came today at 9 a.m. with semi-trucks. I hope no one tries to hide this. I want to expose it all and how big of an operation you knew was going on to grasp how big it was. I wish I could write a book about this. I mean, I wish he had written a book about it too, instead of killing himself.
Exactly. If he'd written the book, that'd be way more
helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose the book sales aren't going to go much if he's not here anymore.
This is the next part, which I think we should read word for word. I'll try my best here to fill in the grammar. Okay. I always took it as a challenge. Started slow and bad and shifted to the giant that was built. I spent sleepless nights planning what items to counterfeit next. I had every hologram we ever made extracted from every company's database and put into Excel. So with a touch of a button, I can type Mahomes, and a bin shoots out with every Mahomes sticker, hologram, or certificate of authentication card. Every item automated and sorted. I'd spend countless hours scrolling Excel finding my next score. It was a thrill having every athlete in every sport from every authentication company at your fingertips to produce the signature flawless authenticate it with flawless bootleg holograms, and then sell it for half of what a company does by the thousands. And that's the part where I feel like maybe he's like overestimating what he does, because how many people are going to buy something for 50 cents on the dollar and think it's a legit item? Like, if you're buying a Kobe autograph at the moment for $500, that would be like extreme alarm bells, wouldn't it, Dad?
Right, but what if I'm not talking to the end consumer? What if I'm talking to
A dealer.
the dealers?
Yeah,
Hey,
sure.
I can do you a good deal on
Yeah.
on 10 Kobe autos. You
And
know
it
what?
gives
I've
you
got a
heaps of
guy I
room
can
to
get
make
20.
money. Yeah.
Right? But you have to buy in bulk.
Yeah. You're right on that. I'm wrong. I think that's where I
Yeah.
was thinking. They're not sending direct to the end.
They're-
Maybe they are sending direct to the end person, but also
there's
too, they're selling to dealers. Yep.
the dealers won't be able to say no to the offer, because it's that, oh, I'm selling you these jerseys at 60% of comps.
And then they sell it at full price. Correct. Yeah, you're right.
And they're like, oh, I'm getting wholesale prices.
Yeah, delicious. Yep.
But no one's asking the question, how are you getting the wholesale deal?
Next name, next flawless signature. I was addicted. It was a rush. I wanted out, but the money was too good. I can make 100,000 in a week if I wanted to. The fact that not one dealer that knew what we were doing.
It said dealers that didn't know.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you called that 100% right. At your fingertips to produce the signature, flawless. I think blah 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 blah.
Yep.
I've already read that. I think. Yep. Screenshot. The fact that not one dealer that knew what we were doing to the industry, or when I took their exclusive, no one ever picked up a phone to confront me. That baffled me. I told multiple dealers I will ruin you and your exclusive. They knew better. Once the heat turns on, new company, same game, but it makes it better than the last that you got caught up. Every company made changes. We did too. They added security. We did too. There was nothing that couldn't be done. I sat on an auto. This is the part. I sat on an auto pen machine 8 hours a day, perfecting signatures that would pass any certificate of authentication. It even passed by own players during signings with mixed in items. What would you do if you could create any signature on any surface flawlessly and have the holograms to boot? I just couldn't stop. You'll see a boom in bad autographs with good stickers hitting the market like a firestorm. I sold over 2 million in just holograms to every avenue I could. Enjoy the industry all. End of post.
Far out. That is the biggest middle finger.
Middle finger.
Yeah.
That's right. To the industry right there.
But we talk about the integrity of and cards is a little bit different to jerseys and things like that.
But it sounds like he's touched everything.
Agreed.
He claims to have touched everything. Yeah.
But it's those, and I think back to going to the shopping centers, right? So memorabilia stores that claim they've got a cert and all the rest of it.
That's the stuff where I think you really need to, be very wary of.
Yeah. Because I before any of this happened, I always had question marks over shops like that can just get autographs.
Yeah.
I can get this piece for this. I'm like,
but also too, like that margin that we were just discussing, buying a Kobe autograph at 50 cents of the dollar. I think if you're running a retail space, you need those type of numbers for the business to be profitable. So, like, the logic is there.
It needs to be, yeah.
How you
need
could
to be
fall
able
into
to get
that. How you could fall into the Mr. Man Cave scenario. Hey, why don't we go to a break and we'll come back and we'll keep breaking this down.
Yep, for sure.
So the obvious break here is to go to our friends at Fast Break Trading Cards, who are a direct Fanatics partner. So if you would like to avoid the Mr. Man Caves of the world, all you need to go is to your computer and type in fastbreaktradingcards.com. But I spelt it wrong, so it didn't come up. That's okay. I fixed that now. And there you'll find that they are an official partner of Topps and also Fanatics. Yeah. So you can literally walk into their shop, 75 Tulip Street in Cheltenham. You'll see they've got Fanatics jerseys hanging on the walls, which are actually direct from Fanatics. Mr. Man Cave hasn't touched them. Yep. You can go in there and buy with absolute confidence. So let's have a look at their Fanatics Authentic jerseys. I think this is the perfect time to talk about it. Justin Herbert, Los Angeles Chargers autographed powder blue jersey, $875. Kobe White, that's a Black Bulls jersey. I love that one there for $415. Phil Foden, Manchester City, the baby blue for $685. Marcus Rashford on special for $650. Tyrese Maxey, the nice Philadelphia blue for $565. Erlen Haaland for $1,450 on that, again, that nice baby blue. Carmelo Anthony, again, there's a lot of baby blue in here. I keep saying that baby blue.
Yeah.
For $895. My boy, Hakeem Olajuwon, for $535 in that championship red. So, guys, if you would like to get some memorabilia, you want some guarantees on what you're purchasing, this is the perfect segue and advertisement for us. Thank you so much to the guys at Fast Break Trading Cards for providing a safe space in the hobby and also for your sponsorship to our show. Alrighty, we are back. Adam, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I'm ready to continue breaking this down. This is big news.
Nightmare, yeah. Alrighty. So I think the next thing that we do is just go to some of the notes that I wrote down about Steve Grad and the Boston Card Hunter. Guys, if you don't follow Boston Card Hunter on Instagram, I really strongly suggest that you do. He just makes good content. You know, he doesn't overreact. He just sort of sits down and thoughtfully, talks about stuff. So the first thing that he spoke about that I wanted to break down was, he was saying, the total pie of the hobby is approximately $15 billion. If he is claiming to have counterfeited 500 million, that's an estimated of 5% of the total hobby is fake. And so I think that's a really good way to think about it. So then you can kind of say, well, how much of my collection is fake? So let's just make it selfish and, make it about me. Because I think this is how most people will think about it. I've got 2 De'Aaron Fox jerseys in my collection that have got autographs. So, maybe one of those 2 is fake.
There's a chance.
I bought my one off Facebook Marketplace, and the other one was given to me as a present. The other thing that I've got in my collection is a Kobe autograph that's BGS graded and authenticated.
You mean like a card?
A card, yep.
Yeah, I think that the card you'd almost be okay.
Well, I agree with you, but at the same time, I don't want to discount it just because of what he said of how many Kobe's he put out into the marketplace.
Now, the thing is, my question with that, all right, so I've got Kobe memorabilia. I've got 3 Kobe photos signed direct from Panini.
Yeah.
So I ordered them through the Panini website.
So you're totally fine with those?
Yes.
There's no reason to think that
Panini issued, they were numbered to 24. Yeah. They were...
They had an agreement with Kobe that he was exclusive to them.
So I actually received, and I've sold it since, with a bit of relief now. But I had a signed jersey in a frame that I received as a birthday present. I know people chipped in to get that present, but it was from a memorabilia shop. And part of me is like, was that a fake auto?
100%. So I think you just have to start now checking your certificates.
Yeah.
Just going onto the website. Yeah,
for sure.
And or getting it re-authenticated.
Yeah, I mean, there's Kobe autos that I've got that are over 10 years old, so I'm not as worried about the older stuff.
Yeah,
and I think it's obviously the technology's got better and better and better over the years, which is why it become more rampant. But
yeah. We've already spoken about this, but we'll quickly just go over it again. Just the provenance, like where the risks are, is where did you get it from? And I think this is really going to change. I think if there is going to be some change in the hobby after this, it's all going to be about provenance. It's like, where did the item come from? And I think this is the part where, so when we're making content, I always try to make it educational, and it's like, what can we learn from this? What can we do different? Like, we're not like running around with our shirts off. So I think for me, this is the part. I think as this is the educational piece I would like to put forward. I think as you're purchasing something, you now need to ask yourself, how is the condition? How is the price? And also then, where is the provenance? Like, where did this item come from?
What is the item's origin?
Yeah.
What's the origin story?
Yeah.
We got it from a supplier isn't good enough.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it
A
depends
supplier.
on...
No, but collector shops say, I've got a supplier. They don't say they go through Fanatics. They say we've got a supplier. And if it's a faceless supplier, I think more questions need to be asked.
But I think even that itself could... So just to be devil's advocate on that, I think that even that could be faked. Because if if you've bought 50 grand's worth of stuff from Mr. Man Cave, you're not going to tell people in your shop. Like, hypothetically, you're not going to tell people in your shop. I think where I'm going with that is like, are you buying it directly off someone who is reputable or are you not? And then also to looking at your certificate of authenticities and really like examining that.
Yeah.
And again, so segueing into the next part, and that's what they'll talk about on this video with Steve Grad. So he was talking about, he gave the example for Beckett. So he was saying with the fake Beckett stickers, they actually, you can smudge the fake ones, you can smudge. And Boston Card Hunter, and I think this was probably like the best part of what he said. He's like, well, every grading company now needs to come out with an educational video to say, this is what a good PSA slab looks like. This is what a bad PSA slab looks like. This is what a good BGS slab looks like. This is what a bad one looks like. And I'm not going to lie to you. That's exactly what we need. And I would say more to the point, why hasn't this happened before? There's so much shite content out there. You know what I mean? Actually, here's some content we need that will be really helpful to like the average collector to
I'm sorry.
Do
you know how much? But it seems easier these days to get tips and tricks on how to stitch up people than actually look for the dodgy stuff.
Yeah, for real. Yeah.
Like I can go to Kurt's Card Care and order me a pack in order to clean up my cards.
I don't. No, you can't put Kurt's into scamming. That's hang on a second.
But there's no education out there.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a really good thing. And again, maybe this is something that's going to come out of this, which I think would be a really good thing. The next thing he said was, I wonder how much stuff he touched. I wonder if he is doing Jordan. Someone out there has been doing Jordan. And I think that's a really good... If you're trying to join the dots out there, and especially if you're the head of authentication like Steve is, and you're seeing this from a really high level, and you're like, we're getting all these Jordans coming in, like where are they all coming from?
Who's doing it?
Then you get a guy come out and says, I've done 500,000 items. Okay, that's actually a very reasonable thing to say.
Starting point to look at, yeah.
Yeah, how much Jordan are they going to be having in his seized stuff? And again, as something else they spoke about too, which I completely agree with, they need to show collectors what was seized and what this bad stuff looks like. And I would say more to the point, PSA needs to be shown what the bad stuff looks like. BGS needs to be shown what the bad stuff looks like. We had the guys on at the Hobby Hangout, and they were talking about all their autograph authentication stuff. All those auto companies, I think they should have almost like right of way or first chance to look at it. I'm sure there's going to be a whole lot of avenues that need to be looked at before it goes down.
I think the problem is if the information were to come to light about what is out there, it would create a lot of panic in the hobby. And a lot of very genuine items may also be impacted. So they've got to be careful without generating unnecessary fear in items. Ways to detect, but not to turn every item into a fake so that the genuine ones also get disregarded and become disreputable. It's tough.
I think we just need to know. And I think if there's going to be a little bit of fallout, I think there's going to be fallout anyway. Right?
It's better than it's better to know than not know.
The next thing Steve said was, I wouldn't be buying anything out of Japan or China, which I think is a really interesting one, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. He also thinks that these fake items are being sold in China, Japan, and Australia, so we unfortunately got a very honourable mention in that. I think for me that statement is actually a little bit ironic, and I think it's one of those statements where you make it, and I don't think he meant it in a racist way or like, looking down on other countries, but for me that statement's very ironic because the person who's done the most scamming, like there was the other huge one that like went down, which was Bullpen. That was an American company. And
Yeah.
now the biggest one again is American. So actually,
to,
like
to
for
blame
me,
another country and then be
for me,
yeah.
for me, that's almost like stupidity. Like, mate, you actually need to sit down and just like think about
Have a look in your
the
own backyard
logistics chain of like where this is all going. Like the biggest market for all this stuff is America.
for sure.
Of course, the forgeries are going to be in America. Like, so I don't disagree with what he's saying in terms of like, buying stuff out of Japan and I'm sure he's got very good reason for saying that too. Again,
Yes.
as someone who's seen this stuff like really high up, and there also might be some truth in saying that they're being sold in China, Japan, and Australia. They're also being sold in America too. So like, don't leave that sort of part out. I think that was the part.
Deceit by omission rather than
Yeah, yeah. People are doing Beckett certificates in Japan. I wouldn't even consider buying over there. So I think that's a really interesting one. My experience of hobby shops in Japan has been a really enjoyable experience, actually. I find the prices a little bit more friendly, whether it's like they've got different taxation brackets or they just need to make less money from the hobby.
Or they're
I
all
don't know what
fake
it
and you
is.
get them cheap. It's the other way.
No, I've bought Panini sealed over there, and I've just bought single cards out of boxes.
Yeah.
Just sort of just sitting down for an hour or 2
I
hours.
thought you just said I bought Panini seals over there. Sorry.
No, sealed
No,
product.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm just being smart.
I think
now.
I bought Zion and Jar Prism Hobby
Okay.
in Japan. Yeah, that's what I remember buying over there. That's a few years ago now.
Yeah.
Who would make the? Yeah, so this is something else to talk about too, and I think this is probably we touched about on this before. Who would make the company? So what he was talking about that was like Steve was making the argument that you wouldn't make this stuff in America because people wouldn't want to take on the antitrust and the lawsuits of making fake stuff.
Yeah.
So that's why he believes logically it's being mass produced.
Even if it's being produced in America, it's being shipped offshore and distributed from China and Japan.
No, so I think
feel
what
like
he said. I think so. Again, obviously they say this very loosely, and so does Brett. To be fair, who made the initial statement. Like, I think when they were making these statements, they're not giving it you in ironclad. You have to kind of like put the
You have to put your own pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the thing is, right, so a lot of the Chinese fakes would come across to Australia to be distributed because you don't distribute where you produce it.
No, I think the high-tech forgery of the holograms is being done in China, and then they would bring in those holograms, import them into America,
Yeah.
and then they would do like whatever they're doing.
That makes sense to me.
Unless all of the production of the cards is being done in China, and then he's got his autograph machine in America, and he finishes them off.
Yeah.
Steve's advice buy from Fanatics Direct. We've already covered that. We've shouted out our boys at Fast Break. And then they were also talking about too is like Steve was saying to the Boston Card Hunter, thank you for shouting out and calling out these people. And I've put this in quotes. This is what the Boston Card Hunter said. I won't tolerate this. I think that's a really healthy way to look at the hobby.
Yeah. But we can't stand by complicitly and just and let this happen.
And I feel like I've been thinking a lot last week about our timeless moment that we did about the fake Panini seals, because that's not really like you and I have discussed a lot about the type of content that we want to make, and we've never tried to do clickbaity stuff, at least intentionally. And I think I had a lot of reservations about making that episode because I was like, am I just sort of, hopping onto some
Are we
sort of
jumping on the
bandwagon?
negative train and
Yeah, but I genuinely felt that.
No, it's a line in the sand. That is a line in the sand moment for us in the hobby.
And now that I heard the Boston Card Hunter say that, it kind of gave me some reassurances. And actually, no, like, we didn't agree with that behavior that went on. We decided that we wouldn't tolerate it, and we decided to do some educational pieces around it. And I think the timing of this is not our normal ratio of like scamming to basketball news. So this is obviously a lot for us at the moment. But I think it's not going to be obviously like this forever. All right, so my takeaways of this is I take this more away as like it's more of a risk about memorabilia versus cards. I really do think that it's more of a memorabilia thing than cards. However, cards has been touched.
But they've been impacted. Cards have been impacted.
Yeah, and really I think where my thought process is now going is provenance. Where am I buying this stuff from? I want to start avoiding buying this from the aftermarket. I want to really be buying this from people, who know what they're talking about. And
Yep.
and yeah, I think really for me, that's where I'm going to leave this today, Ad,
Yep.
because
Yep.
we've done a lot, and this is basically 30 minutes now. I'll give you the final thoughts though, because I feel like you gave me a lot of time to chat through.
No,
that.
I completely share this view that I also agree with the fact that we can't tolerate this.
Yeah,
As collectors, as people that do have a voice in the hobby, this can't be tolerated. We can't just turn a blind eye to this stuff.
yeah,
And it's important that people are aware, A, what happens, and B, how to avoid it happening. And I think you make a very, very, incredibly important point. You need to know where your stuff's coming from.
yeah.
Yeah, it might be a bargain. It might be 30% off what you
Retail.
expect to pay.
Yeah,
But the follow-up to the question is, why is it that cheap?
yeah,
Where's this guy that's at some random, and you go to Comic-Con, you go to the National, you go to all these trade shows, you see memorabilia, and the perception is that everybody gets it legitimately.
Look, I got to be honest too. I do understand why people try and get things cheaper. Like, there is a part of me.
But there's a risk with that.
Yeah, there's a part of me that's kind of like, it is expensive going to Fast Break and buying that stuff off the wall. Mm-hmm. I could save $300 getting it online. But then at the same time, you've literally just flushed, instead of saving yourself $300, you've actually just flushed down the toilet $500
For something that's not legitimate.
on an $800 purchase. So like, it's such a false economy, isn't it, when you say it like that? Like,
yeah. And I think
maybe that's the perfect way to finish this segment, Ad.
Yeah. Just know who you're buying from. Just
Yeah.
do a little bit of research and make sure you buy from reputable sources. Because it's people like Fast Break. It's the people in the hobby that care about authenticity rather than getting a good deal.
Yeah, they're not selling shite. Yeah.
Off the back of a truck.
Yeah. Thank you to usportscardsaustralia.com.au for your ongoing pledge.
Another reputable seller.
That's right. Go to their website, usportscardsaustralia.com.au. There you will find sports breaks, singles, collectible protection, hobby boxes, sports memorabilia. This is going to be a sports memorabilia episode. They don't have a lot. Steve Francis autographed jersey for $90 and a 2023 Hit Parade autographed baseball jersey, which is from David Adams. So obviously,
yeah.
Now, Ross's other big project is Check Out My Cards Australia, which is a card consignment service. Click on the three little noodles. Click on Check Out My Cards Australia. Click on Check Out My Cards submission form. Fill out the submission form. Post all your cards to Ross. He will sell them all for you. Put the cash into your account afterwards. On your submission form, write, "You can't comp this" for a free submission.
Awesome.
Which will save you a tidy amount of 6 cents per card. Thank you, Ross and team, for your ongoing support. And we are back.
Yeah.
Straight into some WNBA. This is from Twitter account @BreakerCulture. I've had multiple Caitlin Clark collectors reach out to me in the last few weeks looking to sell their entire collections. I've passed on them, too risky, but it definitely has me wondering, why are they jumping ship on Clark now? Has the Clark market peaked? Adam, what do you think about this?
I think there are some cold feet in the hobby.
Do you reckon?
The narrative, and this is, I try not to be glass half empty on things, but the narrative, right? We've seen all of these crazy positives for the WNBA. We've seen viewership at all-time highs. We've seen products selling like it's never sold before.
Yeah.
The flip side to that is the only cards that are really holding any value are Caitlin Clark. That concerns me because there's only so long people are going to buy random product with the hope they get Caitlin Clark before they go, why are we buying everything else? And it really cools off. So either some other WNBA players need to rise, or I think the bubble bursts.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Look, I don't agree or disagree with that. I think that Caitlin Clark can still be high and everything else is low. And I probably think that's what's going to happen for the WNBA. Like, there's already a massive gap between Caitlin Clark and, say, Sabrina Ionescu.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that gap will just keep getting bigger. In my mind, the only way where this will really crash is if she gets injured. And I think if she gets, like, a season-ending injury, like, for example, what happened to Halliburton, I think you will see, like, catastrophic losses on every Caitlin Clark card out there. Now, in terms of the specific timing on this, I'm actually not too worried about it. I would say that this was par for the course.
Okay.
So in my opinion, what happens is people will chase the big cards and the big teams and PYTs, irregardless of whether they like that team or not.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, the last few years, the hot teams have been Spurs.
Yep.
And people buying them aren't Spurs fans. They want
Wembies.
They just want the good cards. Yep. Yeah. You know, the years before that, it was the Charlotte Hornets. Like, you can't tell me every person buying the PYTs for Hornets were Hornets fans. Before that, it was Memphis Grizzlies and obviously the Pelicans. Mm-hmm. Like, do you even know a single Pelican supporter? I don't know a single one. But someone was buying all those teams.
Yeah, true. True.
You know, and on. Dallas Mavericks.
But it's always the investors that want the rookies, right? The hot rookies are in those teams.
Yeah, but multiply that by 10 and apply that to the WNBA. No one gave two Fs about WNBA product at all. And then
now they care about
breaks were selling out so fast, you couldn't even, list them fast enough, right?
Yeah.
And so I think what happens in those scenarios, people go in for the gamble, they hit a big card, they send it off to PSA, and then they want to sell that to either move on to the next big thing or, just sort of go on. So I think, you can look at this, from two different perspectives, and let's go on to card ladder. What I want to do is I want to look at Jason Tatum at his all-time sales. I still think, yes, Tatum is injured at the moment, and so this is going to, mess with his numbers a little bit. Like, I think that's true. Although he's actually not that far down. He's still at $705, which is, like, to me, insane. So he was a rookie in 2017-18, had a little bit of a rise here, and then he had, like, a trough, okay? And so I think that sort of, that rise and the fall and then the fall again, I think that's what every player's cards look like, because it's a lot of excitement when the cards first come out.
Yeah. And
then people, who did, jump in to invest, then they sort of jump out a little bit. And so I think if you're applying that to all of your collecting moving forward, buying in that first 12 months is very, very risky. So sometimes buying guys just in the second year, even if they're a really good player, like Luka, Jar, Zion, all that type of stuff, it's totally fine.
Yeah.
It actually might be the better play to do. And so
to get him in that period,
yeah, when people are like unloading because, they've got them, now they want to sell them, to buy something else. And so let's move back to Caitlin Clark. So at the moment, her silver PSA 10 population on this is just 49, which is really interesting to me. I would have thought that would have been much, much higher than that. It last sold for 3,100. You take 3,100, you can get a Kobe autograph. You could get a low-end Jordan autograph. Like, I'm not saying that you shouldn't be holding Caitlin Clark. Like, at the moment, I still think she's someone you can hold or buy. But at the same time, if people want to flip out of that and get a Jordan or a Kobe, I've got no problem with that either. And so that's a very long-winded explanation for that. But I really think that this is actually not something to be worried about. Yes, she's currently injured. She didn't play in the All-Star game. I don't think this is a big deal at all. The other one we could look at now is Wemby, because I think so much money percentage-wise went into Wemby, because really the last 2 years there's been not a lot else to buy into.
Yeah, true.
So the population on Wemby at the moment is 4,633, and he's still trading at $780.
That's
Like,
insane.
if you want to talk about a risky piece you want to get out of,
Yeah.
like that's 100 times more than Caitlin Clark. More than 100.
Yeah.
So yeah, like if you want to talk logic around that would be my argument there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I if she's the only hit, it's tough to justify the purchases. For me,
Yeah, but I think the difference with the WNBA, and this is like this is my experience, and I would say I'm relatively well qualified to talk about this. I run a very small WNBA break group.
Yep.
But the guys and girls, the people that go into those breaks,
Yeah.
rarely, if ever, sell their cards. And the reason for that is because they actually love the WNBA and they love collecting it. So I think the people that go into WNBA breaks are a little bit of a different beast to what you have from the traditional seller, flipper, buyer, roller that we get in NBA, and even compared to say Pokemon. And also too, we haven't when I say we, the WNBA hasn't had this like Luka Doncic, Wemby, Caitlin Clark before. So it's actually a little bit of a unique situation where it was actually an oasis for you to go into cheap breaks and get something, half decent back. Right? So yeah, it's real different. Moving on. Actually, can we go to a break? Because we're already up to 46 minutes. It's going to be a really quick break, and we'll come back and we'll just do NBA talk.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah. And we are back. This is our last segment of today. Adam, have you had a drink?
I have.
This is our beverage time.
I tell you what, there's been a lot of not NBA talk, but just it's all been about memorabilia today. So it'd be nice to get back to some NBA talk.
It's taken 46 minutes to get to NBA talk. It's not our normal, is it?
Look, I think prioritizing Caitlin Clark was nice, given it's the All-Star weekend for the WNBA.
I actually thought that was my favorite. Well, the reason I put it at the top because I was like, that's the most interesting talking point, probably. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, well, we've got some player movement, haven't we?
Yeah, we do. Oh, there's more interesting stuff, but I just thought it was a good question.
For sure.
Bradley Beal is being waived by the Phoenix Suns, so an absolute.
We knew that was happening.
It makes the Wizards deal look 50 times better now. Because if you can trade away someone and get assets back, as opposed to the Suns that gave up assets for him and now paying him to go away.
Yeah, it's pretty cooked. I think the big thing this season, this off season, is how scary that second apron is.
Oh yeah, it's really smashing teams.
This is I've never seen so many players waived.
Yeah.
Like it's just, and this is to avoid tax.
It's an insane amount of tax, though.
Yeah.
It's not just.
Well, it's an insane amount of tax, but it used to be insane to waive someone's big contract.
Yeah.
But to the point now where it makes sense to waive someone, and you don't pay tax, which is even more than that salary. Like that's lunacy.
Hey. Let's actually go back in time. This is really fun now. So this is from 2023. The Suns get Bradley Beal, Jordan Goodwin, Isaiah Todd. The Wizards get, I'm just going to take a deep breath in here, Chris Paul, Landry Shamet, Bilal Coulibaly, which was the number 7 pick, which they swapped with the Pacers, a 2024 first round pick swap, 2024 second round pick, 2025 second round pick, 2026 first round pick swap, 2026 second round pick, 2027 second round pick, 2028 first round pick swap, 2028 second round pick, 2030 first round pick swap, 2030 second round pick. The Pacers get Jarace Walker, which was the number 8 pick from the Wizards, a future second round pick from the Wizards, and a future second round pick from the Suns. That is cooked. That is absolutely cooked. So if the Suns suck this year...
What did the Lakers get for Luka? Yeah, give up for Luka. Anyway.
Don't get me started. I know you're trying to trigger me here. That's insane, man. Like, just the draft equity by itself is 10 times over what they should have paid.
And then Phoenix just waived him.
And then they waived him. All right, let's talk card values. Bradley Beal, PSA 10, silver rookie, population 31. It's trading at $190. Oh my god. I'll give you 3 guesses what this peak traded for in COVID. Have you seen it?
No.
Okay, don't look at it. Just try and guess.
I couldn't make a guess that was more than $500.
Higher.
1,000?
Higher.
Nah, you tell me because I'm
10,000.
No.
April the 9th, 2021. That sold for 10K. Even at $190, I'm like, I don't know if I'm dipping my toe into that.
Nah, I wouldn't be dipping my toe in that. That's woeful.
Marcus Smart has been waived by the Wizards, which I don't agree with. I think Marcus Smart needs to be on the Wizards to show these young kids what to do. He's unfortunately signed with your boys, the Lakers.
Unfortunately, I think that's
I hate
fantastic.
the Lakers even more. Silver PSA 10, Marcus Smart. Population on this is 19. The last price on this is $37. That is an A-plus purchase. I'm actually going to go onto eBay immediately after the show and do some bids on some Marcus Smarts. I think that's an absolute home run.
Yeah.
The irony of that card is that actually it was trading at 185 just in the last 6 months.
Really?
Yeah, very volatile card that. It's been up and down, basically from $40 all the way up to 185. So, huge A++ purchase on that at the moment. Marcus Smart.
I think it's a good addition to the Lakers. I'm gonna.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Die on that hill. But yeah.
Yep. Damian Lillard, who was waived by the Bucks. I was hoping he would go to the Lakers or the Warriors, something like that. He's actually gone back to the Blazers.
So.
He cited family connection and, wanting to be close by his children. Look, you can't fault the guy for that, but at the same time...
I'm trying to find the quote.
The anti-ring chasing sentiment of that just grinds my gears slightly, to be honest. I'm not going to lie to you.
I just want to... Yeah, I know.
They gave him a no-trade clause in his contract, so there's only 2 players in the league with that. Him and Bradley Beal.
Yeah.
Not Luka or LeBron. Bradley Beal and Lillard. There we go.
LeBron's got one.
No.
LeBron's got a no-trade clause.
Not according to Shams Charania.
Well.
He might have been an old deal.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm trying to find Lillard's quote because I remember he's something about loyalty.
I think when he left, he said there was no loyalty.
That was my thing. Like, I think when he was traded to the Bucks, it was there is no loyalty in this game.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's only business. And then he comes back to Portland. Oh well. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry.
I think when you leave an organization and you say something like that, it's not the best way to leave, but I'd also say that's recoverable.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not like you said, you're the biggest dogs out there and you rip me off or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like that. It's just like his feelings were hurt when they traded him, which was, I thought, actually a little bit ironic because I felt like they were doing him a favor, to be honest. Anyway, Damian Lillard, silver PSA 10 rookie card from 2012. No rookie logo on that one, unfortunately. Population on that is 45. Last sold for 1,140. Adam, are you buying, holding, or selling that at 1,140?
Selling it. I'm selling it.
Yeah, look.
I don't get me wrong. Lillard's a good basketballer. I just don't think his legacy actually has a lot of weight in the hobby. Like, I think he just... And it's not... It's sad to say, he sort of just drifts off into irrelevance. He's never won anything. And I think that goes to why I think Luka is still overvalued. Although, I think Luka's closer than Lillard to a championship.
Yeah.
Like, historically, it's a great point that you watch and say it's Dame time, but what has Damian Lillard achieved?
40th all-time on the NBA scoring list,
Sure.
21,000 points.
Great.
7-time All-Star.
Excellent.
First All-NBA once, second team twice, third team 4 times, 75th anniversary team member, Olympic gold medalist 2020, NBA Rookie of the Year, all-time leading scorer in Portland history,
Yep.
career high 71 points in a single game,
Yep.
2-time three-point shootout winner, and one of the only few players in NBA history to record multiple games with 60-plus points. Yeah, I think that's where you have to start looking at Lillard from that sort of all-time perspective and then sort of comp that out between other guys. Like,
Yeah.
I think for me, like where I'm sitting like right now, it's like, where does he compare to, say, Kareem and the cost of his cards? Like, so that $1,140, are you better off putting that into a low-end Kareem?
Yeah.
Because, or a James Worthy rookie card. You know where I'm going with this? It's like, what can you buy for that sort of same amount of money? Because,
Yeah.
okay, so the Kareem rookie card PSA 10 is basically $500,000. Let's just dial this back a little bit. Let's see what we can get. Like a PSA 7.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a PSA 7 is currently trading at $4,150. Okay, so why don't we look at a PSA 6? Do you know what I mean? I feel like that's sort of like, okay, you can get a PSA 6 for $2,000. Like, would you rather a Kareem rookie card PSA 6 or 2 of those or 1 Lillard silver? It's like
that's the whole point, right?
Yeah.
Where does Lillard factor? I was trying to think of someone that's in good stats guy, but think about what his legacy is hobby wise. I heard an argument about this guy the other day, so I'm gonna use it. Russell Westbrook.
Yeah.
His career.
Yeah.
How many All-Star games did he play? 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. 9-time All-Star. Has been All-NBA first team twice. A bunch of All-NBA second teams. Has won an MVP. 2 All-Star MVPs. Also a member of the 75th anniversary. The top 75.
Yeah.
Most career triple doubles in history. All of these cool stat achievements, but he doesn't have an NBA championship. He's got an MVP over Lillard. But where does Russell Westbrook sit? Do you know what I mean? In the hobby. I think he's got a very tainted view. I think the story of Russell Westbrook needs to be contextualized a bit better, because that man's a team first guy every day of the week.
Look, I think this is actually a segment we could do. We could look at the values of the 75 anniversary team.
Yeah.
And then actually go, okay, this guy's over, this guy's under. So, for example, the other name that was just going through my head then was James Worthy.
Okay, yeah.
So, a 1986 base Fleer PSA 10 is selling for $3,100. So, I think, like, where I'm sort of going with this, it's like the further you sort of zoom out, the more this sort of stuff makes sense. So, it makes sense that the $1,000 in the Lillard makes sense when you say it like that.
Yeah.
I think you're better off having the Worthy than the Lillard, and I think you're better off having the 6th Kareem than the Lillard. But do you know what I mean? It's like, it's all kind of ballpark into that space. So
Yeah.
All right, we got time, I reckon, for 2 or 3 more. We'll do this one really quickly. Ben McClenmore has been sentenced to spend 8 years in prison for rape and sexual assault. I don't know how many Ben McClenmore collectors are out there, but
that's wow.
You're out the league. You're cooked, buddy. Sorry to hear that. Johnny Furphy threw down an absolute monster poster this week.
If they don't turn that into an anime dunk, like that, using that from Lameem James,
the young man that he dunked on, unfortunately, had his eyes in a very particular pose.
He looked like he was having a seizure when he got dunked on.
Yeah, look, that was like really unfortunate for him, to be honest. I think this is where Panini Instant needs to come in and be like, right, let's get that card out. Let's get Johnny Furphy to on-card autograph this. Even if we had the other guy who got dunked on, that would be a fun card.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I really think this is the stuff that we need to like get done, and I actually think that stuff would sell really well.
Agreed. I completely
Honestly.
agree. Yeah, for sure.
Even like Tyson Beck. Tell me he couldn't do like a inspired dunk picture because of that.
Posterizers.
Can't believe we haven't spoken about this already. The Wizards have traded Jordan Poole to the Pelicans for CJ McCollum.
Yes.
So, all right, I think the perspective on this that I want to talk to you about it's like, who is the hobby winner out of this one? Because we know Jordan Poole. We should probably recap this. This is actually quite funny. So Jordan Poole at one point went up to $1,000 for a silver PSA 10. Lest we not forget. It last sold for $30.
Wow.
I actually don't think him going to the Pelicans is going to reinvigorate.
It's not moving that needle.
Yeah. And then the other one is CJ McCollum. I doubt McCollum is even in card ladder.
That's fair.
And do you know what? He is, and I spelt his name correctly the first time. That is like...
Good job.
Thank you. And that last sold for $20.
So the trade value is pretty easy. That was about a fair trade then.
I think I might have one of those sitting around, and I've got a funny feeling I paid like...
Do you remember when Jordan Poole hit $1,000?
100 or 200. I did. We had some laughs about that.
That's insane.
Hopefully there wasn't too many. I don't think that many people got.
We did buy, hold, sell at that point. I believe the words were sell, 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 sell.
We said sell as quick as we can. So that was like one thing we got right on this show. Hey, look. Speaking. Okay, so let's just take CJ McCollum for 2 seconds and reflect exactly what we just said about Damian Lillard. This is a buy because.
Are you looking at his historic stats?
Yeah. I think what you need to do now is look at him as an all-time guy. And then you have to kind of go like, where does he fit into...
All-time Robins?
Yeah, everything. Because at that price, I think that's the type of card that you buy now on the cheap and you just kind of like put it away into a box and it just holds its value. Okay. All right, so let's just like hold this for a second. So... Damian Lillard has got 21,000 points. CJ McCollum has got 13,000 points. So there's a major discrepancy there. So actually, this is already like taking me down a notch anyway. So maybe his price.
McCollum was Robin to Damian Lillard's Batman though. Yeah,
but he scored in my head. I'm like, this guy's been scoring points for a long time. Most improved player in 2016.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Actually,
he's done nothing.
And then his other things is he's the president of the Basketball Players Association. Yeah. So it's like, whatever.
Yeah. So he's a good union rep. That's great.
Good guy.
Nice.
Really good guy.
Yep.
All right. Do you know what? I don't think we've got a Jordan to finish off this week. We're going to finish off with your boy, Kobe Bryant.
Kobe Bryant.
This is from Alt XYZ Official on Instagram. 2014 Kobe Bryant. BGS 9.5 just sold for $60,750. I have zero problems with this at all. This is the true gold, which is
number to 10.
Yep. And there's no chance that Kobe cards are coming back in any capacity, I think, at all, ever. And I think that the design of this card is
I was going to
amazing.
ask that. So they don't print players once they're passed, or... Obviously, so I get there's no order.
No, we've had this conversation, and I looked this up, and what I said last time is right. So they can, but they need to have an agreement with the estate.
Okay. And so Vanessa needs to...
Correct. And I don't think there's any possibility that happens. I don't think she's got any interest in
cards,
in doing that stuff. Yeah.
If she goes broke, I'd be surprised.
I mean, look, stranger things have happened, but I couldn't imagine.
Yeah. It's all right.
That he wasn't well set up financially.
I agree.
The guy was a maniac on so many different levels.
Yep.
Would you buy, hold, or sell that at $60K?
I would hold.
Yeah.
I'd hold it.
Like, honestly, there's some cards that you just
Hold. Yeah.
you just buy, and even if you have overpaid just a little bit, it's fine. Even if that is an overpay, I still think that's the type of card that, and that's just an amazing
Just
card.
for the overpay, to give you a perspective, last time that card sold
Yeah.
was in 2023 and it sold for $19,000.
Yeah, I mean, look, you'd rather pay 19 than 60, but
Sure, but I'm saying in 2 years that card's gone up. That's
a
tripled
lot.
in price.
I think that's where the hobby's at, though, Ad. It's like the good stuff has gone up, the middle stuff has been middled out, and the bottom stuff has bottomed out bad. You know, I probably think...
I think being able to identify what the future good stuff is a real niche thing.
Yeah.
But you've got to have that patience to wait 10, 15 years for a card to...
Yeah. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, everyone at home, for listening.
Thanks for another great episode.
We're going to say the YouTube thing here. If you're watching on YouTube, 97% of the people who watch our content are not subscribed. Please subscribe to us.
We'd love that. Yeah.
Helps us out a lot.
Yeah.